It's funny, the other day I'm driving along and I'm thinking about the meme that says that I hate when people tell me that money won't solve all my problems because I can't think of a single problem that money wouldn't solve. And it's funny, of course, however, as we know, that doesn't solve relationship problems. That doesn't, even if you could buy the gym, doesn't make you work out. Even if you can buy all the food and healthy food that you want, doesn't make you, doesn't force you to eat it and so on and so forth. But I understand the point of the meme. It is funny. And it got me to thinking a little bit more on how we misuse our funds at any level. In fact, I heard something to the effect of this quote, which was it was actually done by somebody who does podcasting and modeling. I forget his name, but he says, "You ever notice that at the end of the month, no matter how much money you make, you always end up with the same amount in your checking account?" Which means, according to Parkinson's law, that we expand or contract to not only use our time as efficiently or inefficiently as the time that is allotted to us, but we spend our money as efficiently or inefficiently as in accordance with the amount of money that we have. So if we have $1,000 to spend, we are going to spend $950, whatever that pain threshold is. But if we have $500, we'll find ways to cut costs because we don't have the money. So no matter what, we'll spend up or down according to what we have, and that was the whole point of it. And what made me really curious was, I wonder how much we make today that is that differs from what we will make when we retire, and how much money we'll make across that time frame that differs from where we've started, right? So I'll put that in other terms. Say if we make, I'll put it actually in literal terms. So say if you are 22 years old today and you are starting out at a $40,000 a year job, right? And you know what, just for really, really easy math, let's say it's 40,000 after taxes, right? So maybe that's 55K, give or take. Maybe you're in accounting or something like that. But you're $40,000, and every single year for 40 years until you're 62, the age of retirement, you get a 3% cost of living raise, okay? What do you think you will end up at the end of the 40 years if you get a 3% raise every single year starting out at $40,000? What do you think? Any guesses before I tell you? Well, I will tell you, at the age of 62, you will be earning $134,395.96. That's a big difference. That's almost $100,000 more per year that you're making, assuming, again, no additional raises, no bonuses, no commission checks, no promotions, job changes, anything like that. Takes into consideration. It's a conservative number, right? And with inflation, that makes a lot of sense. Now, here's another question for you. If you add up the difference of what it would be to make $40,000 over the course of 40 years without any raises, what do you think that number would be? Give you a few seconds. That number is right around $1.6 million that you'll earn over the course of the 40 years, right? That's not bad, not bad. It's certainly a lot more than majority of the world makes. How about if you add up the total costs of the salary if you receive the 3% raise year over year? Anybody? Any guesses? The number doubles to 3.2 million and some change. That means that you will earn $1.6 million in addition to what you've started at of the $40,000, right? $1.6 million that if you were to end your life without any money in retirement or a minimal amount, it means you will have spent an additional $1.6 million. Now you might say, Teddy, well, cost of living, I have a family, there's things that, of course I'm not gonna live my life as if I'm making the same wage for the rest of, sure, fair, totally fair. What if we cut that number in half? That's $800,000. What if we split that into a quarter of that amount? That's $400,000. Now, if anybody was to come up to you and say, you know what, I'll give you $400,000, but you will not get a raise in the last, for the last 5 or 6 years of your life. You won't receive any more raises or anything, but you can have the $400,000 right now. Would you take it? Of course you would. Of course you would. What would you do with the money? Would you buy a house? Would you save up for your kids' college? Would you go buy something, a nice car that you've been waiting on? What would you do with that money? Be honest with yourself. What would you do with that money? And before you think that you are more capable to handle your money properly, keep in mind that the vast majority of people that win the Mega Millions end up bankrupt within a couple of years. And that's because we have a crisis of money mismanagement on our hands, no matter how much money we have. That's why 80% of the United States, no matter how much money they make each year, lives paycheck to paycheck. 80%, 4 out of 5 people. It's not because of the amount of money that people have or they inherit or whatever it may be. It's because they don't know how to use what they have. There's always options to upgrade. Car, home, clothes, gym membership, food, drinks, socks, furniture, how you spend your weekends, how loose you are with your money with just the tiniest things. That money can go so fast. But you know what's also crazy? Even if you took a quarter of that money, $400,000, say even $300,000, and you just plop that in a middle of the road diverse portfolio that got 6 to 7%, let's say 7% for easy math. 7% return on investment doubles every 10 years, which means that 400,000 turns into 800,000, 800,000 turns into 1.6 million, 1.6 turns into 3.2 million every 10 years, right? But now, of course, we can't use that math because we are adding small increments over the course of time. But what if, imagine this, what if you, instead of increasing your spending habits because you had the money, what if you took out a percentage, no matter how much you make, and invested that consistently over the course of your adulthood? What if you did that instead? Did you know that even $100,000, if you were a 22-year-old, $100,000, if you had that and you just plopped it in there and you did no investing for the rest of your life, but you left that in a portfolio, somebody managed that for you, and you invested it at, and you got 7%, which is pretty middle of the road, pretty standard return on investment, that turns into $1 million over the course of 40 years. If you don't touch it, if you just leave it there, that's 10 times its original worth just by leaving it there. But of course, you're not going to do that. You're going to do what I tell you and what a good investor would tell you. And that's that is to avoid debt as much as possible from the beginning. And that is to start investing early on, because compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Something I want to say now and over and over and over again is that no one is coming to save you. No one's coming to save me. By our own earnings, with a conservative salary of $40,000 and standard raises, we can make $1.6 million straight out of college. Like just by living, just by doing the bare minimum, getting the standard raises. 1.6 million, that's our money that we make. If somebody gave us $1.6 million, we'd be thrilled. Lo and behold, we make that ourselves. Of course, there's an asterisk next to that. There's always an excuse. Well, it's not up front. I wish I, of course, would prefer to have the money up front, but you're still getting it. That's the mistake. And statistics would show that no matter how much money people get or receive, money mismanagement is still the problem. And statistics and mathematics don't lie to us. And they also show that less money today, properly managed, equates to much more money than a larger sum left alone or spent. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. You are the hero in your own story. You are your rich aunt or uncle that you've been waiting to hear. Waiting to get that phony ass email where you're waiting. You are the Syrian prince that is a mega millionaire and is looking to give you his inheritance. You are. Save yourself. It's not hard to understand. It doesn't boggle the mind. Save yourself. Change your family tree. Reap the rewards. And leave this earth a better place. I'm out.